Should full access to the internet be a fundamental human right?
Yes, internet was made for a better communication. It was made to have access in a social world. But people nowadays uses social media as a platform for entertainment. News source not just a country but also all over the world. And internet can be a platform used for promoting social awareness, cyberbullying, and etc.
Nowadays, we can't deny the fact that internet encompasses almost everything around us. So it is better for us to have a full access in it. Full access to the internet can be considered as a fundamental human right provided that it will undergo certain legal processes. It will definitely benefit us all, for it will make our lives easier and better. But we should handle it properly. Otherwise, it will lose its purpose.
Internet access is indeed a very important thing now that the world we live in is ever changing. Undoubtedly, the drastic progress in the field of technology is inevitable. And I surely believe that this helpful tool is something each and every one of us deserve. However, to decide whether it be a fundamental human right or not is not mine to decide. Just as Christ commanded his followers in John 17:16, "You are no part of the world just as I am no part of the world," I remain neutral when it comes to political issues. I neither support nor rebel against them. I follow the rules, I abide the laws, I relatively submit to what the government thinks is right for the betterment of our country. But when the rules and the proved rights compromise God's laws and go against His standards, I imitate the Apostle Paul when he said, "We must obey God as ruler rather than men."
For me, yes. Because in a world where internet runs everything, everyone should have the right to access it. Having this right can just assure that all of us can use it anytime. And by giving us this right, we will have the choice either to choose it or not. And this will also give us a responsibility to use it properly and with caution. Because in reality, having right means having a matching responsibility. And by having this right, we will learn to be responsible in accessing and using the internet. And by giving us this access, the choice will be in our hands if we will use it accordingly for the truth and our conscience, or not use it at all. And the blame will not be to others, but in ourselves.
As a human being, we have a lot of human rights. We have the right to live, the right to have education, the right to freedom of thought, and a lot more. And if I were being asked if internet should be one of those rights, seeing how the world is right now, especially seeing how consistent the advancement of technology is going, I can say that internet can possibly be one of those human rights that we currently have. And all those human rights that we currently have went through a lot of process and are also announced by the government, by the world government. And this being one of those human rights has to go through a lot of processes, which can take a lot of time. So right now it may not be one of our human rights, but seeing how things are right now, at the present, I can really say in the future that it might be one of those human rights, especially now that our age doesn't define when we are gonna have access to the internet, because we can see babies at the age of 1 being able to access the internet freely, watching videos. And my sister, from my own personal experience, I saw my baby sister, starting at the age of 1 to 2, watching videos, and now currently she is 6 years old. She is turning 6, but knows how to fully use one famous social media platform, which is now TikTok. And I don't know if these things will have a positive impact in our lives, especially to the newer generations. But I can say that it may help in a way that we are to learn, they are to learn. But yeah, going back to the topic, that I really think I'm not 100% sure, but it could possibly be one of our fundamental human rights.
So before we answer that, let us first know what are fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are, we can say that there are rights that are mandatory for every living person. So examples of fundamental human rights that we have are right for freedom, right for equality, right for freedom of religion, culture, educational, even constitutional remedies. So those are the examples of a fundamental human right. So basically, these are rights that were given to us at birth, at our first breath. It's automatically given to us, the right for freedom and such. So the question is, should internet or full access to internet be a fundamental human right? So first of all, before it becomes a fundamental human right, it should undergo a lot of due process and stuff in the higher ups or in the government. But if you're going to ask me, I'll personally say no. As of the time being, I don't consider it as something to be fundamental right, because there are still a lot of people, or I mean everybody could still live without internet. But I'm not saying that internet is not important. No, it is indeed very important for us, but it's not to the point that we can't live without internet. It's not there yet, but who knows? I'm not talking about the future here, I'm just talking about the time being. So who knows, maybe years from now, internet access would be a fundamental human right, because it will be super important in the future, because we'll never know. Technology advances each and every day, and for like social medias, websites, other stuff like that, we need internet for it. So who knows? So yeah, that's it. For the time being, I don't consider internet or full access to internet as a fundamental human right, but we'll never know. Maybe in the future it will be a fundamental human right.
Has social media been a net positive or a net negative for our society? Why?
It has negative effect because most people uses social media for bullying, for spreading fake news, and even destroying oneself. But somehow, social media really helps us a lot, like spreading news not just in our country but also around the world, spreading social awareness like cyberbullying, and even news about our government and the politics. And for our generation right now, social media has really been a big part of our life. But we always remember to think before.
To be completely honest, social media for me is neither on the positive net side nor the negative net side of the society. Normally, it should fall under the positive net side, for its main purpose is to help people communicate with each other regardless of the distance. But since people tend to be extra, consequences occurred. It is now more than what it is. Social media are extremes. If it serves right what it is, then it is positive. On the contrary, if it serves more than its main purpose, then it is overly negative.
For me, both. Because as we see it today, all things have two sides. It can be positive or negative, advantage or disadvantage. At first, social media was developed to give us positive things, just like connection to other people, entertainment, and many more. But problems will always arise and will always happen, because without it, there will be no balance. It is doing good to others, but it is also causing harm. Good and bad, safe and harm will always be together. Even if it is doing more good, it will also do the same harm.
Social media is undeniably useful in our everyday lives, especially when communicating with other people and expressing how we feel about things. This even makes way for people to use their voices and speak for what they think is right. However, a lot of people use this platform as well to harm other users and endanger their lives through cyberbullying, copying their identity, and posting immoral photos online. So, to answer the question, I would stick in the middle of the two. It is both a net positive and a net negative. It is good, it does good, but is harmful when used the wrong way. This just proves that everything in this system of things is to be considered a double-edged sword. You cannot expect something to be too good that it doesn't have any more downsides. No, things don't work that way. Just as a shadow never leaves a certain figure, consequences of bad actions can never be escaped from. Like what the great teacher Jesus had said, do to others what you want others to do unto you. So then, the key to a net positive social media would be treating others the way we want to be treated. If everyone would be applying this principle, we can have a stress-free and loving environment digitally. Until then, we have to be responsible for what we post. So as they say, loving someone means embracing pain because hurting is a part of loving. Just as we can never love without hurting, we must accept the consequence. We must accept the response we will receive of using social media because it is all part of the process.
And the second question is, has social media been a net positive or a net negative for our society? Why? For me personally, because I use social media every day and spend almost hours using social media. And from what I saw, from what I can see, social media has impacted our society, each individual, both negatively and positively. So let's first discuss the positive side of social media. So the positive side is that using social media, we are to be entertained, we are able to access many information, and the best part of this is that we are able to connect with the world, where we are able to communicate, we can express our thoughts, our feelings. And especially now, during lockdown, during quarantine, in this whole mess, this pandemic, social media has been a really big help for small businesses, for those who are trying to make a living, and they're able to do that. They're able to eat 3 times a day thanks to social media. And I think that social media is also really good since we are able to communicate with other people, where they encourage us, they support us in every way that they can, especially our friends. And this is a really big thing since we are not able to go out, or maybe we are, but of course we should be cautious about going out. So instead of going out, meeting people face to face, we are now able to do that in the comfort of our homes, but not really face to face. But we are able to communicate with them, to see how they are doing in these tough times. And it's a really good thing that social media helps us in that way. But now let's go to the negative side of the spectrum. So social media has really made a lot of people become depressed. I'm not really sure, but there are a lot of researchers supporting this fact, or my assumption. But we can see a lot of people having negative attitudes towards social media, where they use this a platter of social media platforms to instill a lot of negative things about people, about the government, about many other things, especially those who discourage people, or we can say right now that they bash people, their pictures, their posts, especially when they don't know what that person is going through. And yeah, a lot of people are becoming too insensitive. They think that it's safe, they think that it's just for fun since it's on social media, but they don't really know what's going on with that person. And I also hate the fact that many people use social media to bully other people, to just target many people who they hate, since they have the courage to do it, since they are behind the screen. Like, we can say that the people that they are harming have no power to do anything to them, since they think they are safe. And also, the saddest part about social media, when people use social media, is that and I also experienced this before, but when we see people post pictures about how rich they are, how successful they are, everything they have in their lives, we tend to compare ourselves to them. We tend to compare, like, why don't I have this? They have this, but I also want that. I will only be happy if I have that. I have what they have. I'm only happy if I experience what they experience. And social media really blinds us from being content, being happy with what we have. And that's really sad, since this can also generate negative outlooks in our own lives, beating ourselves up for being who we are, when in reality we should be accepting who we really are in this world, no matter what we have. And it's really important to be happy with what we have.
For someone who is at different social media platforms each and every day, hours and hours on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, those other stuff, I feel like I can understand and I can see both sides of the spectrum here. I can say that it could be positive and it could be either positive or negative. So first one, let's first go for the positive side, right? So the positive side of social media, or it being a net positive, is that it can provide us with a lot of things. It could provide us with entertainment, information, news, and the most important thing for me is that it is the fastest way of communication. You can build bonds, you can make friends on different social media platforms. So it keeps the society together by building a bond among everybody. Like we have a platform where even if we're under quarantine, we could reach out to each other, we could message it to each other, we could inform everybody using social media. And that's not all. There's still a lot of positive stuff about social media, but it will be too long if I say them all here one by one. Next one. If there is a lot of positive, obviously there's also a lot of negative stuff negative stuffs for social media. So I just want to point out one thing, but I'm not saying that it's the only negative side of social media. I just want to point it out. It's what most irritates me. It's what irritates me the most. I'm sorry. So what irritates me the most about social media is how people act and how people get famous using social media, because they can use that fame to get paid and stuff without even acquiring any talent or any hard work. Let's take like if you know Boknoy Glamour is an example. He doesn't have any talent. He's just a little kid, on the internet, but eventually he grew up. And also examples of this are a lot of IG models, TikTok dancers. They're getting paid per post. I know that I think it was Kylie Jenner who was getting paid millions just to post a picture. And what gets me the most about it is that they're getting paid without doing anything, without doing any effort. I'm not bitter about this. I'm not spreading hate about who's famous or not. I'm just saying that there are a lot of talents that are getting neglected. There are a lot of talent that are getting unnoticed just because they aren't famous yet, just because they don't have the looks for it. Because here's another bad thing about social media, to be completely honest with you. I hate how social media has built a somewhat a standard for what people should look like, or for what beautiful is. Social media has built that standard that you have to reach, that if you're not beautiful, you're not gonna be famous, you're not gonna be discovered, even if you have a lot of talent. There's still a lot of people there who has a lot of talent but goes unnoticed because some of them doesn't pass the standards, and some people are just they're just beautiful. Some people are there just beautiful and they just reach the standards of social media even without talent. They're getting noticed, they're getting these deals from different companies, they're eventually getting a better life than everybody else. So I'm not mad about that. I mean, I want to congratulate them. They're doing very well for themselves, but it's really unfair that a lot of people with actual talent and actual hard work are getting unnoticed because there is just a standard in social media. Everybody is just bandwagoning, and they're setting a lot of stuff for people to reach. And if you can't reach it, then they're not going to accept it. And that's what I hate most about social media.
Do people in wealthier countries have a moral obligation to help those in poorer countries?
I believe that every land were made for us to live in, not for someone to own it. A country is wealthy because of its natural resources, what the nature gave them. But if there's a poor country or land which lack of natural resources to feed its people, It's our obligation to also help them, because without those natural resources what nature gave them, there will be no wealthy country. So let's just help one another, because helping doesn't make you less of who you are today.
Do people in wealthier countries have a moral obligation to help those who are in poorer countries? Wealthier countries are not obliged to help the poorer countries. But as we move towards our common goal, which is development and unity for all, some wealthy countries tend to do it willingly. If a wealthy country wants to help the other poorer countries, then they do it. It is more of a will rather than an obligation, because we shouldn't take it as a responsibility, rather a movement towards unity.
I couldn't agree more. Of course, morally speaking, it is an obligation to help those who are in need. Nehemiah 5 verse 10 and 11 even stated that when the walls of Jerusalem were being built, the rich ones had to stop putting interest on the money that were lent to the poor ones. They even have to restore to the poor ones their houses, their vineyards, and their fields that were paid as interest. The first Christian congregations did so as well. They helped their brothers by giving them food and other material things to support them materially. So they did this not because they are obliged, they are obligated to do so. They did this because of their love for their brothers and sisters. So a body is a body because other parts fulfill the needs of others. Those who have the capacity to lend a helping hand must do so without expecting anything in return. If we too would imitate their examples and develop a generous spirit that stems out of a pure heart, there will be so much love and unity that envy, insecurity, and poverty could no longer enter our world.
For me, no. It is more like humanitarian choice than moral obligation. Because if we say moral obligation, the wealthier countries don't have a choice but to help. For me, it is a choice that one should make and not be forced to him or her. It should be in kind, or it should come from your heart. Because the help will only be meaningful if it is given by someone wholeheartedly and not because it is his or her obligation. What we need to teach people is to have a heart to those who are truly in need of help. Because if it will be an obligation, that help can be abused and it is not right and just. And also, help should never be imposed just because it will lessen or improve your morality. It should be done with your will and not because it is an obligation.
Well, it's inevitable to have, in this world, to have both types of countries. Those types of countries which we define as wealthier and as poorer. But most people define them, and in this discussion, let's define them in a way with the use of money. And those wealthier countries, though in the form of money, are those types of countries which has a lot of rich people, a lot of successful people, as they say. Those countries that have a really high value of money, and also who has really good infrastructure in their country. And those poor countries have really low money value, which is mostly always the case. And also that these countries are not really pleasant to the modern eyes, which only wants to see buildings, streetlights. But these are the types of countries which you will see a lot of trees, country roads, maybe a lot of fields, who knows. And also those types of where a lot of people are crowded, the place is dirty, and if we're going back to the question, if do these wealthier types of countries have a moral obligation to help those in really unfortunate positions, I can really say that for me personally, if I were to be in the wealthier country and I would feel some obligation since I am wealthy, I'm part of that wealthy country. I feel obligated to help those in poorer countries. I may feel also that I should help. Like, there's no way around it. But to be honest, personally speaking, I feel like everybody's obligated to help one another. It doesn't matter if you're poor or rich. It doesn't matter what status we have in life. Because we can be the richest person in the world, but only keeping those riches to ourselves. But we can be the poorest person in the world, but all we do is help other people, even the richest. Even the richest man. So for me, personally, no matter where I am, I would feel obligated to help anyone, even if I am to be the president of the poorest country in the world, to be in charge of that. I would still strive to help those in richer countries, because every country has their own contribution to make in this world. Every country is unique, and every person in each country is different, is unique. So yeah, I feel like wealthier countries can or cannot be morally obligated. It's still their decision to make. And sadly to say, like, it's not always the case that these countries help those poorer countries.
So, does people in wealthier countries have a moral obligation to help people on poorer countries? It's like a first world, third world countries type of thing. Well, personally, I think that they do not have any obligation whatsoever, because first of all, it's not their responsibility. You know, they're not obliged, or no one is forcing them to help people in a third world country. But, I think that I want to point out is, it's not a sense of obligation. It's just like a sense of humanity, that you're not being forced to help, but you should, because it's the right thing to do. And another thing, it's because you can. And personally, I believe that if you can help, then do, because there are a lot of people out there that needs help, financially and in other things, just to keep their lives stable. So yeah, those people in a rich country are not being forced, they're not being obliged to, but just a sense of humanity. Since we live in the same planet, we should really help each other. And I go by that belief that if you have something to spare, then give it to those who does not have anything. Because if you help one another, if we help each other, then each and every one of us will grow and will reach reach success, and we'll reach a stable point in our lives, and everything would just be better if we helped.
Should there be a limitation on the right to free speech?
Everything should have limitations. Even your life have limitations. Any time is the right time to speak, but speak for the truth that represents the good. Speak when your words doesn't hurt other people. Speak because it is your right and everyone's right to speak. Fight and defend for what they believe is true. But don't forget to use your heart to understand, your brain to think before using your mouth to speak. Thank you.
Free speech is a freedom. For every freedom, there is a limitation and a corresponding responsibility. Just because it is free doesn't mean that we will use it all out. There are certain boundaries that we cannot cross, because if we do, chaos will definitely take place.
For me, no. Because giving limitation to people will just result to conflict. Give them what they want, but teach them how to speak in the right time and how and when is the right time to listen. Because knowing this thing will make you mindful of the things that you would say, if it will benefit others or not. Freedom of speech is not just about speaking, but also about listening. Because knowing how to listen will make you more knowledgeable of the things around you. And also you yourself should give limit to what comes out of your mouth, because that will make you a decent person who uses his or her mind before speaking. So for me, don't limit this right. Instead, add responsibility to yourself, or teach yourself how and when is the right time to speak and to listen.
Yes, simply because our freedom is relative and is never absolute. Meaning, we are free, yes, but only to a certain degree. A certain degree or limitation that God has set. So our freedom, our free will, our free speech must all be guided by principles and laws to keep us on the right track. Freedom doesn't necessarily mean that we are always free to do whatever we want. Just think, for an example, the catastrophic events that could happen if the road would have no laws and all the drivers could do whatever they want. It would be so much dangerous for people. This is why God had lovingly given us principles and laws to serve as limitations of what is right and wrong. So using our free will to do and speak what God thinks is right is always the best way to exercise this gift. In using our free speech, we do well to apply what Paul stated in Ephesians 4 verse 29. Let a rotten word not come out of your mouth, but only what is good for building up as the need may be, to impart what is beneficial to the hearers.
So going back to the first question, we've talked about our human rights, and freedom of speech is one form of those human rights. And for me personally, like we all have these human rights for a reason. It's for us to use them. And all these rights have their own limitations. And these limitations are not made just for the sake of restricting us from doing what we have the right to do. But these limitations are made to limit them, to control them in a way that all will benefit. No one will get hurt. Everybody will be happy in the end. So these rules, these limitations are made for a positive impact. which we must accept, because if we have no limitations in this specific right, the freedom of speech, we might be going out there and saying whatever the heck we want. We can say a lot of things to our teachers, our parents, to those higher ups, which we should be respecting. We could be saying a lot of hurtful words to our friends, family, and many more. And even here in this video, I can say anything I want, but it's not really gonna be good in any way because teachers will see this. A lot of people may see this and they might think of me like they might think ill of me, and it can also diminish my dignity as a person. So for me personally, there should be a limitation, and there must be a limitation.
Let us first define what freedom of speech is. Excuse me. So, freedom of speech is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or even a community to articulate, to speak out, to say their opinions, their ideas, just to express what they are feeling or what they are thinking without the fear of retaliation, censorship, and legal sanctions. So from that definition, we can say that freedom of speech does not have any limitations. And I also think that it shouldn't have any sorts of limitations because it is called freedom of speech. You can indeed say whatever you want, but the point is that you can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean that you are going to be right, because at the end of the day, it's just your opinion. It's just how you feel. It's not like when you have freedom of speech, you're going to say something and everybody will believe you. No, it's just you're expressing your opinion. It's not like if you say something, or if you have freedom of speech, they're gonna do whatever you say, they're gonna believe whatever you say, they're gonna follow whatever you say. No, it's just that you have this free will. You have this access to speak up, but it doesn't mean that everybody's going to follow you or you're gonna be right all of the time. It's just that freedom of speech is indeed our free will. We can say whatever we want, and just by the definition, it also says here that you can say whatever you want without the fear of censorship or legal sanctions. That basically means that you can say whatever you want. You can even say bad words. That's just how it goes. It's free speech. What can I do about it?
If all your memories were erased, what kind of person would you be?
I think a person who's not gonna be afraid to love and to be loved. A person who's gonna fight for his love. And a person who's not gonna give up on things easily. A happy person with humble and cheerful heart. Thank you.
If all your memories were erased, what kind of person would you be? People are molded by those who are around them. If I lost my memory, I would definitely still be with the same person who molded me and helped me grow to the woman I am before I lost it. Therefore, I believe that I will still be like me. Even if after I lost my memory, people around me will help me grow like how they helped me before. And besides, I only lost my memory. I didn't lose it all, so it is still me.
I will still be the same person because memory is just a collection of your past. But as long as the people who helped you in the past is still the same people who is with you in the present, you will still be the same. Because what makes up your memory is the people around you. The people who teaches you things just like how to read or write. As long as you're with the same people, you will still be the same person. because a memory does not make you who you are. The people around you and their influence makes up who you are today.
If all my memories were erased, I would be the person I once were. I won't be the Maureen who worries every morning, overthinks every afternoon, and who silently cries every night. I would be the carefree, problemless kid who rejoices over simple things. I would be the innocent, whole, unbroken Maureen. I would just wake up and enjoy life as I should have been, without worrying about everything and overthinking about what would happen the next day. I would be the kind of Maureen that I wished for. The kind of person that I had been longing for. Having all my memories erased might mean that I have to start all over again. But at least this time, I could make sure that I would make things more worth it and happier the second time around.
Well, I firmly believe that everything that we've experienced ever since we were born, leading up to this day, everything that we saw, everything that we did, everything that we thought, we felt, everything that has happened is what really defines who we are as of right now, as of now. And if all those memories were erased, everything were to be gone, I can personally say that I would be no one. I would go back to zero. I could say that I'm newly born. I will be making new memories. I'll be trying to figure out who I really am. And it's gonna be really hard to find who I really am at that time, because it's all erased. So if it's already erased, it might not be that simple or that easy to do, but it's easy to say that I can be creating a new me, and we can't really say if that person would become better than the last, because we don't know who we were in the past. So if it were to be erased, I can confidently say that I will be no one.
A person with amnesia. No, I'm just kidding. If I lose all my memories and I wake up the next day, what person would I be? I think that I'll still continue what I'm doing right now. I'll still continue to help people in need, help other people, help my friends, because I think personally, I think that I have found my purpose in life, and this is to help my friends, help my family, help other people who are in need. And I've realized that was my purpose a long time ago. I always love to help people regardless. As long as I can help, then I will. I help them with their assignments. I help them with learning stuff. I've even helped someone financially before, and it doesn't bother me. You know, it feels good to help. So even if I lost all my memories, I still feel that the urge inside me to help each and everyone that I can will still be there. The will of fire, I would like to say, the will of fire that I have, the will to help people in need, my friends, I think that it would still be there. And I think even if I lose all my memories, I'll still remember my purpose in life. I'll still remember why I was sent here on earth. I'll still remember why I am alive. This is to help other people to reach their goals, to reach their success. And I just love helping other people. It doesn't matter to me if they don't give me anything in return. That doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if they forget me afterwards. I just want to help them. I wanna sleep in peace every night, knowing that I've done something good, that I've helped someone who's in need, that I have helped without even expecting anything in return. None of that. So I think even if I lose my memories, I think that I would not lose my will to help other people, just be the person that I was before. Just help, just be their bridge, just be everybody's bridge to success. Just help them, just be a part of it. Loss of memories would not be a hindrance for me to find my will and find my purpose in life. So yes. So basically that is my answer. Even if I lose my memories, I would still be me. I would still have a lot of people that will would still be alive. I personally think, I hope, I still remember my purpose. And I still want to help other people, even if I lose my memories and I don't even know them. I will still help everybody. So that's all. I hope I did great. I think I did great. I answered all 5 questions. And this is a raw footage, so there are a lot of mistakes in here, but I tried my best. And I don't want to edit anything out, so I hope I did my great. Thank you.
Why are humans so confident in beliefs that can't be proven?
Because that's what they believe. We can't force someone to believe in our own beliefs. No one has the right to oppose someone's belief. Because that's what they believe. No one can blame him or her if he or she believes into things that we don't. But we can educate and teach them if what they believe is wrong, that is leading them to the wrong road. Thank you.
We, people, are so confident when it comes to our beliefs. It is because we strongly believe it to be true and important, and we normally generalize it for everyone. Oftentimes, these so-called beliefs are so hard to explain because it came from our own unique experiences. Also, it could be introduced to us in a specific context that only we could understand. This uniqueness mainly tells us that we cannot make someone believe something unless they choose to believe it too.
People are so confident of their beliefs, even if it is not proven, because belief is what you believe in. It is a reflection of who you are. We are confident about this belief because that's where we base how we live our life. If we are not confident of our own belief, then we are not confident of who we are. Even if it is baseless, we need to be confident about it because that's the core of who we are as a person. No one can defy our own beliefs except ourselves.
Humans have been gifted free will, the freedom to choose whatever they want to believe in, and having the ability to formulate our own thoughts and opinions on matters helps us to be confident in these beliefs that we cling on. The heart is more treacherous than anything else and is desperate, says Jeremiah 17 verse 9. So yes, our imperfection, our treacherous heart deceives us to sometimes believe even in things, in words that are never proven and are never kept. We might have trusted too much the person who persuaded us to believe, or we might just have wanted to take the path everyone is taking. Whatever the reason is, This foolishness of thinking that things without basis is to be trusted is nothing. So, prove to yourself whether what you believe to be right is right. Use the gift God has given you. Reason out, look for answers, and you will see for yourself that in the sea of unanswered questions is a priceless pearl of truth worth believing in.
So, for me, all of us humans have our own beliefs. Some may make sense to everyone, and some beliefs are straight out nonsense for most people. And some may believe about something that people might see as crazy, as nonsense, or as nothing at all. And most of these beliefs don't have all the evidences that we might be looking for. But us humans, we believe in this, or we are confident in these beliefs because we have this so-called faith. Even though it might not have all the evidences, even though we can't explain it in full, as long as we have faith, we will do everything we can for these beliefs that we hold. For example, is when we believe in one certain religion, it might not have all the evidences that we may require, especially with sight. But we have evidences such as the Bible. We also have the church. We go to we attend masses, which strengthens our faith. Some believe that they will go to heaven or hell, depending on what they do here on earth. Some believe in reincarnation, and some believe in a second life where they will acquire everlasting life. So it might not be proven since no one has ever died and reported how it is like after death. But since we have these beliefs and we have faith in these beliefs, we are certainly to be confident in them and believe in them.
Why do people believe things that cannot be proven or does not have any type or any sorts of proof? So first of all, when this comes up as a question, when I first read this, the first thing that came up to my mind was, superstitious beliefs that, elderly have. And another one is religion. So basing on those examples that I gave, those are examples of stuff that are widely believed in, or a lot of people believe in, but yet they are not proven. So for example, a superstitious belief that we commonly hear is that you should not sweep your floors at night because it sweeps the good luck, those kinds of stuff. And then religion, that believes in gods or goddesses, different deities, the beliefs of worshipping whoever. Those things are not proven. Nobody has ever proven that they are correct. Nobody has ever come up with a solution on how to prove that they are correct. But still, there are a lot of people, or a wide number of people that believe in them. So why though? Why do people believe in such things that aren't even proven to be real? So the first factor, obviously, that I can think of is culture. So for a very, very long time, these beliefs has been with our ancestors, with the generation before us and the generation before that. So as time progresses, those beliefs are still there. Those beliefs are still relevant to people. People still believe in such beliefs that are not proven. So through time, I think that they're quite getting stronger. They're establishing themselves. So even if they aren't proven to be true, they're being believed in by a wide number of people because the past generations believed in them, and they have become a culture. They have become traditions. They have become like a default for people to believe in. For example, like kids are born in religions such as Christianity, Islam. Those are the religions. They are born in those religions, and by default, the belief or the religion that they have or that they were born in is what they would believe growing up. So that is default. So that is a factor. That's why they believe it, even if it's not proven, because they were born there. Ever since you were a kid, you were thought that, hey, this is true, even if it wasn't. For example, like God or something. Yeah, like God. We all know that God is not proven yet. Obviously, nobody has seen him, nobody has talked to him or whatever. But ever since we were kids, especially here in the Philippines, where we are a very religious country, Christianity mostly, we were taught as kids that God is real. We should believe and worship God, and God is our Savior. And from that, ever since we were a kid, we were taught like that, so when we grow up, we tend to carry the belief with us. So that is why I think a lot of people believe stuffs that aren't even proven yet, because it was with them ever since they were a kid, and through time, as they grow up, they will pass it to the next generation. And yeah, that is basically why I think people believe such things that aren't even proven. Is because of time. That as long as they have an audience, as long as those beliefs have fans, worshippers, followers, devoters, they will continue from generation to generation until until who knows when. They will be with us. Those beliefs will be continued to believe in, even if it's not entirely facts, entirely true. Just because it was culture and it was believed by the past generation, it will be passed on to the next generation and the next generation, and who knows when. So basically, that's it. That's why I think people believe in things that aren't yet proven.
What do you think existed before the universe was created?
I think a place where there is no hatred, no war, and no evil doings. A place where you call heaven. A place that is full of light, and a place where there is no darkness. A place where people love and respect each other. A place where only honesty, being trustworthy, and being faithful to God only exists. Thank you.
Absolutely nothing. I strongly believe that nothing existed before the universe. No astronomical bodies, no land masses, no weather bodies, no chaos, no absolute peace, no living and non-living organisms. Universe was created at some time in the past, and that is when it all began.
For me, the only things that exist before universe was created was nothingness, hope, and possibility. Because all things come from nothingness. All the things that we have today came from nothing to something. And because of hope and possibility, this nothingness can have a chance to be something. It is like a process. You realize that there is nothing, then you will think that it can be something which manifests possibility. And after that, you will believe that possibility, and it is hope. So for me, What exists before the universe was created was nothingness, possibility, and hope.
I wasn't there before the existence of the universe, but I know someone who does. Of course, the one who created all things, our Creator, Jehovah God. Colossians 1 verse 15 states that Jesus Christ, the image of the invisible God, is the firstborn of all creation. Then, Job 38 verse 4 to 7 mentions, when God founded the earth, the other sons of God, the angels, began shouting in applause. Clearly, before the universe, there were Jesus and the angels that God created.
Personally, being raised in a Christian family, believing in the Bible and all, I believe what existed before any of the universe was created. I believe that there existed a God, an all-powerful being who was capable of creating anything of his liking or whatever comes to mind. I believe this since it is stated in the Bible that God created all men, and it is also evident that He created the universe, the sun, everything. And He also created heaven. He created the angels and many other beliefs that is stated in the Bible.
So, this next question is pretty hard. So the question here is, what do you think existed before the universe was created? So I think personally that a lot of people here will answer that there was God and then He created the universe in 7 days and those stuff. But personally I am perplexed. This made me think, what did existed before the universe was created? And after reading that, it didn't only confuse me even more with what was there before the universe. It also confused me of who created the universe. What was the motive in creating the universe? And it led to a lot of random questions. But let's not go far. Let's go back to the question. So it says there that what was here before the universe was created. So personally, as a man who believes more in science than religion, I would say that what existed was the thing called singularity. It was smaller than an atom. This is part of the Big Bang Theory, if you know. Again, it's called the singularity. It is smaller than an atom, where no time, no life has passed through in it. So I think that is what existed before the universe. And I know, according to the Big Bang Theory, that there was a singularity and then it exploded and then it created the whole universe. So it's very hard to answer this question because I wasn't alive before the universe, obviously. That's why I can't answer it promptly. But that is the idea that I have. I believe in the Big Bang Theory that there is this thing called singularity where it is smaller than an atom, and because whatever is inside of it was disturbed, it exploded and created different bunch of elements, different bunch of atmospheres, biospheres. It created a lot of surfaces. It created the universe. It created the world and our galaxy, and then eventually here we are. I still can't confidently say that I know what was there before the universe because I still have doubts and I still have a lot of questions in my mind. But for the sake of this activity, I'm going with that the singularity existed before the universe was created. It's where the universe originated. The singularity that exploded, hence getting the theory Big Bang. So that is what I believe. Thank you.
Does jealousy have value in driving humans to improve themselves, or is it a purely negative emotion?
I believe that being jealous isn't just a negative emotion that will drive you down. Sometimes you have the right to be jealous of things you also deserve, but you can't have. I think it is not just your time to have that thing. Just wait and trust God, because I know He has a better plan for you. That is not just gonna satisfy you, but can change your entire life forever. Thank you.
Jealousy is a human emotion. It is naturally present within all of us. Sometimes it drives us crazy because it really is a negative emotion, and looking in a wider spectrum, some jealous people tend to destroy everything around them. But when we look at the smaller portion of the said spectrum, jealousy is also a factor that helps humans to improve themselves. When humans are jealous, we tend to change for the better, and we tend to know what contentment really is. So, I think that jealousy is not purely a negative emotion, rather it also drives us to improve ourselves as long as we handle it properly.
For me, jealousy has value in driving humans to improve, and it is not a purely negative emotion, because different people interpret jealousy differently. Others just want to destroy other people to be the best, to remove this jealousy. But others, instead of ruining other people's lives, they will choose to improve themselves to remove that jealousy within them. Jealousy, as I see it, is what makes us aware of what we want and what we want to achieve. And its result is not always ruining others' lives, but it can be the other way around, which is improving ourselves. Most importantly, we should get rid of this emotion, even if it makes us improve or hurt others, because we should be contented of what we have, of who we are, and what we are capable of, because everyone is different from one another. What I can do, you can't do. What you can do, I can't do. But that's what makes us unique and special, the difference that we have to others, which we need to accept and nourish.
There is a proper and improper way of jealousness. The superlative example of proper jealousy can be seen in Exodus 34 verse 14, where it states that God's jealousy proceeds from His holiness. Because He alone is the Holy One, He will tolerate no rival. God is jealous and wants us to worship only Him because He wants to protect His children from physical and spiritual harm. However, the improper, harmful way of being jealous does no good. It only disrupts peace and unity, harms us physically, and blinds us from seeing the good in others. It may have driven some people to improve themselves, be a better version of themselves, but they are doing it the wrong way because they are being motivated in the wrong way. They wanted to be better, not because they wanted to please God and be happy, but because they wanted to be above others and prove themselves better than those who compare themselves with. This proves that indeed love is never jealous. We can improve ourselves and be a better version of ourselves without putting others down and feeling jealous. And we can only do so if we are driven by the right motive.
Sometimes when we feel jealousy, when we feel that someone is better than us, and that we want to be better than them or as good as them, this may be a driving force for us to improve ourselves. We might get motivated to do things that we haven't done yet, or to improve it in many other ways. But using jealousy as our main source of power or strength when it comes to improving ourselves, jealousy itself cannot be a value in trying to improving ourselves, because it is, for me personally, it is purely a negative emotion, since this driving force just only wants us to prove ourselves to other people. This only wants us to overthrow or to overcome someone instead of making them an inspiration for us. And because of this, we aren't sincerely or genuinely in it for improving ourselves. That's not our main objective when it comes to jealousy. And so, when we improve after jealousy, we can't say that we have improved, because after that we can tell what may happen next. It is possible that we may be happy, but what comes next? We might just run into a dead end after that. Or maybe we will be jealous of someone better, and it will be just an endless cycle. And it can be also destructive, because we cannot control what happens next. We may overcome, we may become better, but we will never know. We might get worse. If we want to improve ourselves, we should do this for the sake of ourselves and not for others.
Okay. Now the third question: does jealousy help people, or does jealousy drive people to success, or is it just a purely negative emotion? So I know that a lot of people, including me, obviously, we have felt at some point in our lives where we feel intrigued about the success of others, and some people might say that I want to be successful as well. I want to have what he's having. I want to feel what he feels. So, is jealousy an emotion that can elevate our passion, or that can drive us in order for us to succeed? Is jealousy a factor that can help us reach our goal, or is it purely negative? So, personally, I would say that no, jealousy does not help us achieve what we have, and I would say that jealousy is a purely negative emotion. But some people will say that you feel jealous about him, that's why you're striving. That is not jealousy, that is actually envy. So I know that people get it confused that way. Jealousy is just a synonym for envy, but they have distinct differences. For example, here, envy means discontented. You are not contented, or you're not satisfied with what you have. Discontented for someone's success, which that is envy, which means you are not contented or satisfied with what you have because you want what he had or what he has. So that is envy. It basically means that you want what he's having, you want the success that he feels, that will satisfy you while jealousy means an unpleasant suspicion or somewhat a sense of rivalship. And that's why I think that jealousy does not help you drive or does not help you push yourself to the limits to achieve success, because it's not jealousy, it is actually envy. And for me personally, jealousy is a purely negative emotion. So yeah, I think that jealousy does not help people reach their success, and jealousy is purely negative, for me at least.
What do you think will your future self remember about you now?
I think for being mentally, emotionally, and physically strong, where things were getting tougher and tougher, but I still have myself. I still able to cope up things like breakdowns in family, stress from school, and especially disappointments within myself. But I surpass all of those by believing in myself, trusting myself, loving myself, and especially putting God in everything. Thank you.
What do you think your future self will remember about you now? Well, just like what I remembered about my past self, that all these determinations I have right now will all be worth it in time. All those fallbacks that I've experienced are part of the learning and growing process. I think that my future self will be the proudest, for she witnessed all the struggles I've encountered and how I surpassed it all. Most importantly, that I'm still me. Yes, I've changed because I've learned, but I still remain as grounded as I am, because that's what matters the most.
I think my future self will remember me as someone who never gave up to his dreams and someone who is so immature and lazy. But to my future self, I want him to be better than me. I want him to remember me that way so that he can improve himself and continue to achieve greater heights. Remembering something in the past will make you learn something from it. And by him remembering me as someone immature, lazy, but never give up to his dreams is a perfect way for him to learn and to be better than the past.
My future self will remember that these had been the lowest points of her life. She will remember that these had been the most challenging times. She will remember all the struggles, the anxieties, the disquieting thoughts that she thought she could no longer bear. She will remember that these had been so hard that she just wanted to give up. Then she will remember how Jehovah had stayed with her throughout her journey. She will remember how Jehovah repeatedly assured her that everything will be alright. She will remember how Jehovah had given her the strength to endure. She will remember how Jehovah had been so proud of her because she was his precious daughter. Then she will remember that her God, her Father, her best friend, never left her, nor did he ever let her feel that she was alone.
The fourth question is, what do you think your future self will remember about you now? I think that my future self, maybe in 5 or even more years from now, would look back to me or to who I am right now. And for sure, I would remember who I was before anything or any significant development has happened, because I know for a fact that in the future I would be someone who is better, who is more well developed, who has matured, and who is even more successful than I can imagine. And I would look back to who I am right now, to where I started, and to when I was young, when I didn't have any motivation to do well, when I kept making mistakes and doing nothing about them. I just believe myself and everything about what I feel, and not really doing the right things. So when I look back, I want to look back where I started, because this will motivate me and to really show me how far I've gotten in the near future.
What do I think that my future self would remember about me right now? So, personally, I think that it would be the way that I make bonds, the way that I make friends with everybody, the way that I would offer even myself just to help my friend or anybody who is close to me, because I have this nature that I will help until I can. So I think in the future, when I'm all grown up and stuff, when I have my family and I have a successful career and stuff, I think that I will remember how, as a kid, as a nerdy little kid, I made friends with everybody. I have a different circle of friends. I'm friends with the smart guys, I'm friends with some weird dudes, I'm friends with a lot of troublemakers, I'm friends with everybody. It's because, I know how to fit in. And for me, I think that my future self will remember this about me, especially in the future when my friends would still be there with me, hopefully, where I will still have a lot of people beside me, a lot of people that still supports me, a lot of people that still needs me. So yeah, I think that the most distinct talent or skill that I have today is how I make friends with everybody. Like everybody's my friend, and I like it that way. I have a laugh with everybody, have a drink with some people. You help them when they need you, and when you need help, obviously there's a lot of helping hand for you, because out of respect they will help you, and it feels good to have everybody. So yeah, I think that future me will remember how a teenage dude like me make friends with everybody. I will remember in the future how I have a lot of friends. How I will remember how everybody became my friend, and hopefully they will still be with me in the future.
What 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about who a person truly is?
Who are you, and can you tell me about yourself? Those were the 2 questions I'd mostly like to ask to know a person better. But I believe that if you wanted to really know who a person truly is, be friends with her, hang out together, make memories that is worth to remember, give importance and love to each other, because when you're the real best friend, that will open up something that will learn you to trust, that will teach you to give love and trust each other. Because being best friends, that's when you can tell who a person truly is. Because only best friends can know you more than anyone can do. Thank you.
To be completely honest, it is one of the hardest questions to answer. Each and every one of us are unique and deep. It is impossible for us to know a person just by asking only 2 questions. But to answer this, I would ask them, what do you do when you're happy and what do you do when you are sad? Happiness and sadness are both extreme emotions, and as we all know, people respond to emotions uniquely. What do we do when we are happy goes to show how we radiate happiness to others and how we see life when things are easy for us. And what do we do when we are sad goes to show what kind of person we truly are when we are tested. Those 2 questions are simple yet will give us a deep meaning and description about who a person truly is.
For me, the 2 questions that I will use in order to get the most information about who a person truly is are the questions, who are you and who are the people around you? Because for me, the hardest question to answer in life is who are you? But if you manage to answer that, you can give anyone the truest person within you. Because you need a lot of time to figure this out. And who are you will answer the experiences that caused you to be this type of person. I also chose the second question, which is who are the people around you, because by knowing that, I will know what you want, what you dislike, and why did you became the person that you are today. Because the people around you influences you unconsciously and consciously. That's why you became who you are today, because of their influence and the experiences you share with them.
To get the most information about who a person truly is, I would first ask, how do you react when you are mad? Then I would ask, what is your most precious, cherished possession and how do you keep it? I would ask the first one so I would know how to deepen my understanding for the person when he is vulnerable. I would ask this to know how to deal with him, adjust, and still stay even if I've already seen the worst of his traits. Then I would ask the second one so I would be remembered to focus on the good things I've seen in him and still stay, because I know that if I do so, he would consider me as one of his cherished possessions he is determined to keep.
Well, we all know obviously that we can't just tell who someone really is by just asking what their name is. So we would dig deeper than just the name, age, gender, or when is their birthday. So for me, when I'm about to meet someone and I really want to get the most information about who they truly are, the first question I would ask is, the question is, if you can go back in time, is there anything you want to change, or is there something that you regret that you want to change? I would ask this question because this will show me about their character, if they really regret their mistakes, which they should. For me personally, they shouldn't be, since all our experiences is what makes us who we are right now, and which strengthens us. So, and the second question I would ask is what matters most to you? The person's physical appearance, or their inner part, or I mean, of who they really are, their personality, their characteristics. I would ask this since it will show me how of the people they would want to meet, they would want to communicate with, and the people who they are willing to talk to open up, or who they are comfortable with. So if they answer with physical appearance, they don't usually go near people who are not that physically gifted. But if they answer the inner part of the person or their personality, this shows that they are willing to communicate with anyone and are willing to give a chance to meet everybody, since everybody is not the same and everybody has different personalities.
Now, on to the last, fifth, final question. What two questions would you ask someone to, reveal their true personality, or to know who a person truly is? So, I am very skeptical with this question because I don't believe that there is something as getting the most information using only two questions. Like, obviously, if you want to know the person really well, if you want to know them wholly, you need to spend time with them, actually bond with them. You can't reveal someone with using just two questions, right? I think it's impossible, if I was to ask, for the sake of this activity, if I was to ask, the first question that I think I'm gonna ask to them is, what is something that a lot of people would not guess that you are, or guess that you can do? So I think that will reveal a lot of stuff about them, like their secret talent or something, anything that they can do that not a lot of people know about, their personal traits that not a lot of people know about. So I think that question goes deeper into them, because I am personally asking them, what trait do you have that people don't see in you most often, or you don't show to anybody? When you have a first impression, most of the time they'll just judge by how you look or how you are, but they will never know anything about you. So basically, you're asking them what do people oftenly mistaken that you cannot do, or you are not, or just something else. Basically, you're going to ask them a question that will reveal a lot about themselves, especially deep ones. It will reveal talents that a lot of people does not know about them. So I think that is a pretty decent question if you want to get the most information out of someone. And then the second question that I would ask somebody to get the most information about them, I think it would be, what is your philosophy in life? Since this is a philosophy class, might as well just ask what your philosophy is in life. That will tell a pretty bunch about that person, because you're gonna ask him what do you believe in, what is your perspective about life, what do you think is your purpose in life. That will just lead to branches of topics that the person will eventually reveal what you want to know, or just answering that question, what is your philosophy in life, that will say a lot of things, that will reveal a lot of information about the person that you ask. So yeah, although I still think that it is impossible to get the most information out of someone using only two questions, those are the questions that I would ask them. So again, first, uh, what's something that no one guesses that you can do, you have, or you are? And the next one is, what is your philosophy in life? So just a tip, if you want to really know someone, I suggest just bonding with them, being friends with them, just overall being giving them your presence, because that is indeed the best way to truly know who a person is. Thank you.